Here we are. Happy days, happy days. Today we want to talk about choices.
Yeah.
We all have choices in life.
We do.
Although I do remember a time when and correct me if I'm wrong, have you ever felt this way where you felt that you don't have a choice?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Because and would you say that's BS?
I definitely would say that's a load of BS for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've definitely had that where I've thought I had no choice in the matter, but
Yeah,
the fact of the matter is
we do.
we have choices every day and in everything we do. So we wanted to unpack that today. Like, let's speak on choices and what does that look like, and how can that affect our lives?
Yeah.
How does that impact our
how
lives?
it impacts our life.
Yeah. So sorry, tell me where tell me your journey with choices. Like where
Wow, I think it's massive. From where I was when I wouldn't even know when the change began. I would say a few years back now,
yeah, I
where
agree.
I was in a mindset that I felt like I didn't have a choice in everything. So
Yeah.
and that stemmed from a lot within myself that I've been working on and journeying on over the years, that I'm now realizing that I do have a choice, and I'm actually believing that I do have a choice, because I guess that really determined how things played out when I constantly told myself I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I remained in the same place, a victimized mindset, you could say. But I guess now life looks so different because I now have the boldness to actually stand up and say, I do have a choice, and believe that. So going forward, I really feel like it has affected my life this year in such a way that has made me elevate and become who I want to become. And that will be a journey. Like, that will take a whole lifetime to actually get to a point. I don't think we'll ever get to a point where we will get to where we're meant to be, because we're just constantly meant to evolve till we die, pretty much. So I guess the choice making has become so crucial in that. And what that actually looks like, I guess, like the process of what choices you make. So it's taken me a long time with certain choices, because they all carry different weight.
Correct.
And like, there were some smaller choices that I've overcome, and I thought, cool, I've made that choice, like, that's great. And then there's been choices that have definitely sat with me for a bit, and it's taken me time to navigate that, to process that, to have some self-reflection, to really ask myself, is this what I want? Is this good for me? Is this going to help me in somewhat way, or is it going to keep me where I'm at, I guess? So choices are important, and you just got to do it. There's no other way around it, from my perspective.
You literally got to choose.
You've just got to choose.
Literally got to decide, right?
Yes, you just got to decide, and whatever that looks like. And fear is definitely the underlying emotion that I've had that has stopped me from making a choice, because it's like, what if I stuff up? What if, I make a mistake? Which is all a part of life, living and learning and growing. And we can choose whether or not we sit in that decision, like the decision that we've made, and we can sit in that guilt or that shame, or we can choose to look at that as something that we've learned from and move forward. So choosing to move forward, and we can be so stagnant in life because of what we choose. So I think choices are very important when it comes down to elevating, when it comes down to growing and getting out of the comfort zone. It's scary, but it's definitely a decision that needs to be made, and you can make that decision. That is your choice.
I was gonna say only you can make that decision, right? Like, when I think you alluded to it, when you go on the journey, it starts with the little choices. And I don't know about you, but at points where when I made those little choices, I think I thought that it was like I was done. It was easy. Then
Mm.
you came to bigger ones and you realized,
Whoa,
oh,
it's never gonna end.
yeah, but like you had the challenge yet again
Yeah, yeah,
to face like the, oh crap,
yeah.
like this is not automatic. Like I'm still building that muscle
Mm,
of choosing. I'm
yeah.
still building that muscle of growth.
Mm.
And there's so much power when you
When you
choose.
choose,
Yeah,
whether it's something that you learn from
yeah,
and
yeah,
you go through a few bumpies,
yeah,
that will then be able to build a resilience in you to be able to get to the next level because you live and you learn, right?
yeah,
So embracing those challenges as you come is going to help you make choices because
yeah.
you then realize the expectation from this is growth, whether it's something that I expected or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I that reminds me of a story where I was where I'd stepped into I'd made the choice where I was making choices to
Mm,
do certain things, and I don't know if I should even say what the choices was, but like I was like, no, I'm doing this.
mm,
And then there was one point where it was the same, it was in regards to travel. Okay, long and short of it was about traveling. And I decided this is what I'm doing, blah, blah,
yeah.
blah, because either my family couldn't come or didn't want to come,
Yeah.
but I still wanted to
To
do it.
go. Yeah.
Then there was a point where I was finding it hard to make a decision on this trip. And I found it really weird because um I'd been so secure in doing it,
Mm,
right?
mm,
And so I thought I had it down pat. And again, it was like from our other podcast where we're talking about self-reflection. I was reflecting, going, why is it so hard? It was like I was back in the old, like I needed permission. Like I need,
Oh,
that
yes,
I need
yes.
permission is I mean, some of you might even not even think that that's what it
Doing.
is, but it is
It's,
actually you're
yeah.
trying to get permission to
Mm,
do what you're doing. And
yeah.
effectively, that's what I was doing. I was like, it's like I had to get permission. I was like, actually, I don't.
Like, why are we
Like
asking people for
that
what our right
yeah,
is?
like that validation or that, like that's what, oh no, you can't have that.
Mm,
And I don't, like, obviously if you're married, you have to have a conversation and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like, well, this is what I want to do, and this means a lot to me, and this whatever. Um,
which is a whole
that's
nother.
another topic, but it was the whole realization of, wow, I thought I had this, where I was like, yep, it's good, da 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 da. Yet I was fighting that I was
Old self.
old self again, where I was like, oh my God. And you know what? If I'm perfectly honest, it came up again recently.
Mm,
And funnily enough, in regards to a thing. And it was more why? Because I was scared.
mm,
Like you said before, there's fear behind it. And it was like, oh my God, it's like I need permission, or
mm.
I need, and the other thing I realized, it was security. Again, when we're talking about core needs, that's another topic we'll have to go into, but it's interesting how we journey
Yeah.
that choice, right? And
Mm.
how we think we have it and then we don't.
Sometimes we actually don't. Like, there was a time for me that I journeyed this year and I thought that I had to ask permission to choose.
Mm,
And I think it's
mm,
because I've been in that mindset for so long that I didn't think I had power. Like, and when I talk about power, I'm talking about the power to choose.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I had given someone else the permission to
Mm,
have power over me
mm,
to be able to make decisions.
mm.
But then that caused nothing but disappointment on my end because it's like, well, I wasn't really being true to what my needs were and how they were being met, that I allowed someone else to. So that was a big learning curve for me. And I'm still journeying that now, where it's like, no, you need to be accountable for what you choose and you need to choose, not them, because they are not you. And at
Yeah,
the end of the day,
that's
you are
true.
the individual and you are accountable for what you choose, what you allow into your life. And yes, life happens. We all journey that.
Mm,
But at the same time, we still can choose what we no longer want to be a part of. So then we can move forward. And that looks different on every level with every single person. But at least it all comes down to the fact that once you know within yourself and you build the confidence to know and believe that you have a choice, it gets addictive after that.
I was gonna say it's kind of it does
Obviously, there is
actually.
wisdom to that. Like when we do say you have the power to choose, it's like, then it's like, okay, we need to be mindful of what we're choosing, which is all a part of learning in life. So don't be afraid to choose. I think practice the skill to choose for yourself, and then you'll learn and navigate as you go. And I think the importance of having someone that can journey with you to be able to guide you in that season of being able to choose and what you're choosing and why you're choosing really does help you overcome a few things that you need to be mindful of when you're journeying, actually choosing for yourself. It is a very exciting journey. It is the fear of the unknown if you've never chosen for yourself before.
The great, because I was going to ask you a question. Well, why do you think we give permission to others to choose for us? Why do you think
I
it's
honestly
that?
feel it's because we're scared to choose for ourselves.
I agree too.
We might muck up as well, so we don't want to be held
We don't want to be
accountable
or have
yeah
the failure.
have the
Like we
failure.
don't want to appear like we
Yes.
failed, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and I
Correct.
think so. We then
And to be honest, it's actually made me realize that this whole time I thought that, you know, oh, I don't believe in being perfect. And that really showed me that I was scared to mess up, that I wanted, like, I literally was like really scared of making mistakes, which means I was aiming for perfection, which is such a good realization for me as I reflected and went, oh my goodness,
yeah,
I never made choices because of fear, but also because I didn't want to stuff up. I wanted to be perfect. I didn't want to make mistakes. And
Yeah.
those are very humbling things to actually come to realization and take accountability for.
Yeah.
So you're always learning. I'll tell you that much. You'll never stop growing unless you stop searching or stop being curious about how things can look in your life.
Yeah, I agree. Like when you're talking about like when we actually choose, you know, because obviously we're handing over permission to others because we are fearful. The other thing it does is we actually then have
enable others' control as well.
What there's control. There's also we then have a resentment or anger.
Yes.
Like it
Correct.
causes issues within that
Correct.
relationship, whatever that relationship, whoever you've given that permission to.
Because then there's a lot of expectation.
Correct.
As well.
Yeah. And let's be fair, how can they make a decision for you when
It's
they
not
don't know you?
Yes.
They don't
correct,
know what
correct.
your dreams and goals are.
Yeah.
Half the time you don't even know what your
Yes.
goals and dreams are, right? And you know, if anything out of this podcast as well, it's for you to decide, you to realize that you can have goals and dreams. You can choose that. And then you can slowly step into them. You know, it's a journey. But first of all, you've got to decide that I'm going to choose me.
Yes.
You've got to decide that I have goals and dreams that I want to achieve.
Yeah.
Am I going to make mistakes? 1,000%.
And mistakes are good. That's the
100%. That's how we learn. That's how we learn. It.
Yeah.
Like,
but we also need to make sure that we are partnering with someone
yes,
that can guide us as we do make mistakes.
Yes.
Because we don't want to do the same mistake over and over again.
Correct.
We actually want to get
to learn from it, right?
Not perfection, progression.
Yeah.
So it's important. Do make mistakes. Don't like literally step out of your comfort zone, do that, but make sure you're being guided along the way, because I mean, you could do that. And then, like I said, you're yo-yoing and just not getting anywhere.
Most definitely. I think this is definitely a conversation that we can continue, maybe in our next podcast.
Yeah.
But there's been some great things, long and short of it, like how important it is to choose. And it starts with choosing you.
Yeah.
Like just say
And
yes
choosing
to you.
and choosing you in terms of like choosing yourself for accountability,
100%.
choosing yourself for self-reflection.
Yeah.
Like it's not always going to be, when we say choose you, it's not like, oh, like me in like all the airy fairy things. It's all in the realness as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like choosing you to actually embrace the uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
So there's so much in that.
Yeah.
That's
Again with that is find someone, even it like with you know, whether it's coach or mentor,
Yeah.
and all that that
we have to time ourselves, or else we'll go overboard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's important to have that accountability body.
Yeah.
It's important to have, and again, myself, I have multiple people that I'm accountable to, because in different areas of my life, I have coaches, I have mentors, I have friendships, I have, I'm in church leadership as well.
Yeah.
And they're all, you all have your own mentors with that as well, which is why you can have multiple.
And I
You
think
don't just
the
have
importance
one.
of that,
Fitness.
the diversity,
Yes.
right? The
Yes.
diversity in like connecting with people from all different walks of life is so important.
1,000%.
And I quickly wanted to share something that Jackie Hill had posted, and it was along the lines of like sanctification. I thought I put it in here, but it was along the lines of like, stay connected with people that are all different walks of life that can teach you different things. Like you can't be just having friends that like, don't just be open-minded to connection.
Yeah.
Because if like I'm just connecting with Tans because like we're on the same level, but then I don't want to connect with anyone else because there's nothing in common, it doesn't expand me as a person.
It doesn't stretch you.
It doesn't stretch me, doesn't challenge me.
No.
And those things are uncomfortable. They really are, but they are good for you.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too with the whole stretching, like stretching is about getting curious. Like even if they're not exactly the same as you can get curious as to understand them.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, okay, that it mightn't be someone that you want to hang around with every day of the week, but you can still be like, you can still have a relationship and a friendship to understand where they're coming from. And I kind of digress with that, but it's
And
like,
it makes us better people.
it does. Like it also says, it again helps us when we self-reflect, like, oh wow, do I do that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, but ultimately with this whole thing today is about choice. And it starts with you.
Yeah.
It starts with you choosing you.
Yeah.
Because you're worth it and you deserve it. And you should be the one in control of your life. You should be the one in the driver's seat of your life. Don't allow others to drive you, because they don't know where you want to go and what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So ultimately choose you. And then from there, start actually dreaming of where you want to go.
Yeah. So good.
Hope this helps you today. And we look forward to our next podcast with you. See you there.
Bye.
Bye.
So good. Does it end?